In a speech that lasted more than 2 hours, the Prime Minister replied on the motion of thanks to the President, but really actually hit back at Rahul Gandhi. I'm Barkha Dutt, you're with the Mojo Story. Balak ki buddhi was among the phrases that the Prime Minister used today as he spoke about Rahul Gandhi in a debate, or rather in an address that lasted for more than 2 hours. Filled with colloquialisms and also references to his own achievements, the Prime Minister basically accused the Congress of being in denial about the election result. He also took objections to the comments that were made by Rahul Gandhi about the BJP not representing the Hindu community and said the country would never forgive them. For the last few days, we've been seeing a feisty set of speeches by the opposition. As the Prime Minister spoke today, the opposition almost didn't let him speak. For the entire length of the Prime Minister's speeches, the opposition was on its feet raising slogans. The slogans were about the northeastern state of Manipur. Manipur, Manipur, Nyay do were the chants heard throughout the speech. Initially, the Prime Minister had to, in a sense, pace his voice to be heard above the noise. Eventually, he fell into his own rhythm and lashed out at the Congress party. Looking at the two speeches, the Prime Minister's address and Rahul Gandhi's intervention yesterday, let's introduce our guests on the program today as we decode the Prime Minister's message from the floor of Parliament today in his third term. Sugata Srinivasaraju, author and veteran journalist, is with us. Welcome to the program. Saba Naqvi, senior journalist and author, is with us. Welcome back, Saba. Also joining us from the BJP is its leader, Surabhi Hodigere. Welcome, Surabhi. Good to see you. Also joining us is Rajat, Sethi, political analyst, who was quite scathing of Rahul Gandhi's comments yesterday. Does he think the Prime Minister was effective in countering them? We'll find out. And also joining us is concubine of the Gandhi family, Tehseen Poonawalla. Welcome, everybody, to the program. The Prime Minister, as I said, used the phrase Balak Buddhi for Rahul Gandhi. At one point, he said, what happened yesterday and what's been happening for a few days now is the Congress ecosystem trying to keep Rahul Gandhi happy. In fact, he used a particular Hindi phrase. He said, "Ye bacche ko behlane wali baat hui." Before we get opening comments from all of you, let's take a look at the Prime Minister, who at one point, irritated with the opposition, said, "Cheekte raho, ye bacche ko behlane wali baat hai." Take a look.
किसी बच्चे को मां की गाली दी थी, उसने ये नहीं बताया, किसी बच्चे की किताबें उसने फाड़ दी थी, उसने ये नहीं बताया कि उसने टीचर को चोर कहा था, उसने ये नहीं बताया कि किसी का टिफिन चुरा करके खा गया था। हमने कल सदन में यही बचकाना हरकत देखी है। कल यहाँ बालक बुद्धि का विलाप चल रहा था। मुझे मारा गया, मुझे इसने मारा, मुझे उसने मारा, मुझे यहाँ मारा, मुझे वहां मारा, ये चल रहा था।
Was the Prime Minister's messaging on point, and what was that a message? Let me start actually with Sugata. Sugata, I know that you have argued that Rahul Gandhi should not have waded into the territory, into the turf, as it were, of the BJP, Hinduism, Hindutva, religion. He did that, and the Prime Minister didn't just respond to those comments, he did towards the latter half of his speech. But he basically sought to trivialize Rahul Gandhi as infantile once again. Do you think that kind of attack will work, given the mood of the opposition, so aggressive that it was seen? The shifting power dynamics were evident in the fact that the opposition almost tried to shout down the Prime Minister while he was speaking. And to be fair, the government did not do that to Rahul Gandhi when he was speaking. Sugata.
Thank you, Barkha. I mean, my position on Rahul Gandhi's speech yesterday was that he should have tried to be a reconciler instead of a muckraker or a hellraiser or a kind of, demonstrating an anarchic streak. So that was my position on Rahul Gandhi yesterday. And today, Modi's sort of rebuttal of Rahul Gandhi was on expected lines. It is not that I mean, there's something he said which has not been said in the past. For instance, this whole reference to Balak Buddhi is trying to
Mhm.
bring back the Papuization in a different form, right?
Mhm.
So that is something that he was trying to point out repeatedly, and trying to the clip that you played, the Hindi clip that you played about Balak ko behlane ki, trying to keep him happy. He gave several
Mhm.
analogies, not just one time kind of passing reference. He spoke about the Sholay dialogue. He tried to sort of speak about the election victory. He tried to
But does
interpret.
it work? But does it work?
The
Because
question is,
it's a very different parliament now.
no, I mean, the parliament is different, but then, Modi was also trying to. There are two constituencies that they're addressing, Barka. So, what has happened is Rahul Gandhi has his own constituency, which expects him to speak in a certain way, and Modi has a
Mhm.
slightly larger constituency, which also expects him to defend certain things in a certain way. So, I think they're
Mhm.
both addressing that whole thing. And if you noticed one thing, Modi did not really care about the kind of noise that was being created. He just put a headphone on and tried to, I mean, I think that it was, I don't know, it was noise cancellation was there or whatever in that phone. But then I think the more very important thing was that he wanted to show that there is some kind of continuity in what he's trying to do. So he spoke in the first phase about development, then he came to the attack Congress thing. Then he came to election analysis. Then he sort of, spoke about Rahul Gandhi in an indirect way. But, I mean, all of that, to be fair to the Prime Minister, all of that was done in a certain kind of frame which
Mm.
parliamentary behavior allows. Yesterday, Rahul Gandhi's flashing of cards and, showing pictures and all of that was a little unsettling for me personally. I mean,
Okay.
I've always said that Rahul raises the right issues, but in the wrong kind of language. So, I mean,
Let
that
me
is
let
that is
me
something.
let
Yeah.
me yeah. Let me bring in Tehseen at this point. Do you agree with Hi Tehseen? Do you agree with what the opposition did today, not allowing the Prime Minister to speak? Now, to me, it seems as if the opposition has decided it's payback time. They're getting even for the time in Parliament that more than 100 of them were suspended. They're getting even for what they think is the Speaker's bias. They have decided to bat on the front foot. Some on social media today called it hooliganism, some called it an assertive opposition, but they shouted about a good issue, Manipur, throughout, almost at some points drowning out or seeking to drown out, rather, the Prime Minister. What did you think of that approach, and what did you think of how the Prime Minister handled it?
So, Barka, thank you so much for having me in the show. If you ask me individually what I would do if I was in Parliament, and when I'm in Parliament, um, if I'm in opposition, I would not like to drown out the voice of the government. I would like to hear the treasury benches. That's personally me. I'm very old-fashioned and orthodox, as I've
Mhm.
told you. But the problem that is that this is an opposition that has no trust on the government. And Om Birla ji's behavior, and I say this with a lot of sadness, um, does not behove the stature of a speaker. I said this earlier in his earliest term with you, and I was shocked and appalled when he switched off Rahul Gandhi's mic on Friday. It simply did not behove the stature of a speaker. You can disagree. You can ask him, you can't pass the resolution now, let the presidential resolution get over. All of that is fine, but he's the LOP. Look, who crossed that line? The line was crossed by Om Birla. He crossed it. The minute that line was crossed, all gloves were off. He did it personally. He did not need to do it. He needed to not be a BJP Karyakarta and be a speaker of Lok Sabha. A Lok Sabha that's seen great speakers across party lines. He crossed that line. I don't think the BJP asked him to do it. Now, once he did it, RG then yesterday was super aggressive. Now, what's happened is you have two camps. You have the pro BJP camp and you have the pro Congress camp. So everyone who's the pro BJP camp is appalled by what happened yesterday. They're appalled. Who's pro-Congress or pro-opposition or anti-BJP loved it. Everyone I spoke to, they said, this is the aggression we need. Look, we are Hindus. Why does the BJP speak for us? It's a divided country. It is so divided that this election hasn't healed. Now, who that 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 job of healing or building that setu or bridge has to be by the Prime Minister. Unfortunately for the Prime Minister, the comments the Prime Minister made in the elections, Muslim, Machi, Mangalsutra, Mujra, Bhais has again left the opposition distasteful. And now the opposition sends a weak prime minister. I disagree that the prime minister was not disturbed. I saw him disturbed. You don't see the prime minister getting irritated and saying, Apollo, you don't see him using these words in parliament. But he's also used to doing man ki baat in parliament. The opposition have changed the strategy. They're forcing him to do Kaam Ki Baat now. Kaam Ki Baat is Manipur and NEET. He was running away from NEET. He doesn't want to discuss NEET because Dharmendra Pradhan has been completely taken for a ride by the Education Secretary and NTA on NEET. I'm not blaming Dharmendra Pradhan, but he's been completely fond on NEET. So now they have nothing to talk on NEET. So he is the Prime Minister, is for the first time defensive. What does he say? Prior to that, the Manipur MP made a fabulous speech that's gone very viral. So this is a Prime Minister who's now looking, not answering. Even when he spoke about the election results and what he intends to do, it was very vague. Hum bana denge third economy, just 10 seconds more. He's not specific. The Modi that I disagree with Modi ji, but the Modi ji that I admired, though I disagree with him, had a plan. Where was the plan today for the next 5 years? His entire thing, and I'll end it here, is people have a credit card, debit card. He seemed to be playing the victim card. इन्होंने ये बोला, उन्होंने ये बोला, ये बालक बुद्धि है, ये वो है, ये वो है. अरे भैया, आप 15 साल प्रधानमंत्री रहेंगे. आप क्या करोगे अगर 5 साल का वो बोलोगे? वो तो बोला ही नहीं.
See, I think it's a very interesting point that you raise, and I'll bring in Rajat and then Saba, and then I'll come to you, Surabhi. If we can just mute Tehseen, please, and I can come to Rajat. Rajat, my question to you is this. You know, on one of our previous shows, you made the point about the BJP having a disconnect with the youth. You know, that to need to find messaging that reached out to younger people. The exams and the issues around the exams is a key flashpoint for a lot of young people, but you also spoke about needing a new language. Now, what the Prime Minister said today, there were great colloquialisms, the Shole Ki Mausi and so on, and we'll play out that clip in just a moment, but there was nothing new. And it's obviously much easier to be an opposition leader looking for a narrative than to be a third-term government or a third-term Prime Minister crafting a narrative that sounds fresh. That's just the nature of politics. How do you think the Prime Minister did today, and how do you think the opposition did between today and yesterday?
So, of course, I mean, there is no denying the fact that the opposition came in with a clear mindset to drown the voice of the Prime Minister today. And I believe, and I'm firmly of this view, that opposition right from the day one, and I said this on your show as well, the agenda for the next 5 years is to completely derail and stall the functioning of the parliament. 10 years has been glorious days of productivity of the parliament. You will not see that those days coming back anytime over the next 5 years, be it constructive issues like the NEET, etc., or politicking that happens all the time. You will not see it. One of the reasons is all these videos are telecasted on social media. There is much more amount of craze around parliamentary debates. That was not the case. I mean, earlier, even 10 years back, parliamentary debates were seen with mundane point of view, that nothing exciting happens there, and none of these politicians were playing to a theater. Right now, the theater is set, and everybody is doing a performance there. Today, the opposition did a performance. The intent of that performance was to set the agenda for the next 5 years and ensure that Prime Minister Modi's voice remains drowned perpetually. Now, this is the frame which they started off with. Now, it was up to Prime Minister in the entire hooliganism that we saw demonstrated by the opposition to put out a positive agenda for the next 5 years. I could hear him barely. He and the other parliamentarians had those noise cancelling devices, but we audience did not. So it was very hard to sort of understand fully and completely. But yes, one thing that he came up with was to set, this framing problem that BJP has entered into. The framing problem is that, BJP got 240 and India Alliance got 235. First of all, this is a wrong sort of a framing. BJP and the Alliance are 300 plus, and the opposition is at 235. And there is a clear big divide. But, shows after shows, narrative after narrative, BJP is finding itself trapped into this at par analysis that they are almost just a hairline difference between the opposition and the BJP. This is where Prime Minister had to come out and do the job that, party's communication department should have handled really well, is that you did not win this election. This is not your mandate to come out and drown the voice of the government. And he had to go on and on and on to clear
you use the phrase hooliganism. To me, it seems the opposition.
If I were to open their Kala Chitta, Congress, there are sitting CBI cases of 1,700 fake encounters committed by the Congress government, both in center and in the state, against the common people of Manipur. Have we forgotten Irom Sharmila? Have we forgotten her 16-year fast? Have we forgotten 5 genocides that have happened in that state prior to the current crisis? But the problem is that it is up to the BJP's communication wing to come out with a state of the report of the state of Manipur and put it before the public. Today, opposition is needlessly trying to bring in a situation in Manipur and trying to politic around it. Of course, it is BJP's problem. They need to address it ASAP. They are doing it. Parlays are happening every single day as we speak. But there is nobody who's communicating it. And that is where the problem is, that there was a no confidence motion. The only no confidence motion against Modi ji was on Manipur issue. Today, his voice was drowned on Manipur issue, and we still do not have a public position of the BJP.
But just to say that, irrespective of how we all think of what the opposition did today, the Prime Minister's own silence or own lack of visible action on Manipur is also hurting him, right?
This is what I'm saying. He needs to tell. I mean, it's not that the BJP and the government are devoid of actions. I'm telling you, today, there was a meeting that happened in Silchar, wherein the Jiribam civil society members from both the communities were brought in for deliberations, so that there is, peace brought into the district of Jiribam. But who is doing the talking? And this is the problem, that somebody from the government spokesperson should give in a daily report of all the back channel and all the discussions that are happening on Manipur issue. Why run away from it? This ostrich effect, that, the storm is going to pass, is not going to work. It has not worked over the past 1 year, and it is not working now. I mean, why is Prime Minister Modi getting embarrassed and humiliated this way by the opposition? I feel sorry for that. It is the donor. You have a donor minister, you have the home minister. All of these ministries should come out and put the facts bare before the public and before the opposition. And there is enough to talk about.
This is so interesting. Tehseen, you have a brief interjection, but if I were to shut my eyes and forget for one moment which party we're talking about, we could be talking about the Congress party previously, where we used to go on about, all of us, how poor they were at communication. Very briefly, Tehseen, I need to go to Saba and Surabhi. Tehseen?
I actually, you just stole the words out of my mouth, Barkha. And for the first time, a very few times I agree with Rajat. It's right. I am appalled at the BJP's communication department. I was actually speaking to one of their senior spokespersons yesterday. It is the tumbling. This is the beginning of UPA. I don't know if BJP can handle it or no. This feels exactly those vibes. There is zero communication, and except for Sudhanshu Trivedi and Shehzad, they are completely. Of course, you have a very articulate spokesperson here, but their communication department, I'm frazzled. This is BJP that set the agenda. I can't. They suddenly seem like clueless, and it's left to the Prime Minister to defend. Imagine Prime Minister defending. The Prime Minister should be your last card. And it actually is, the BJP is playing to the script of what the opposition is setting. And I used to think that the opposition would play to their script. So, yeah, it's surprising, but it's not around. For now, at least.
Ironies of politics, Saba and then Surabhi. And yes, while we're speaking about BJP spokespeople, I do say that many of their better spokespeople are in the states. Surabhi's from Karnataka, and many of them do a much more effective and polite and civil job, when you actually tap into the state leaders. Saba, is the Rahul Gandhi and the opposition is playing a high-risk game. And the high-risk game is something like this. In the campaign, they have stayed away from issues concerning religion. They believe that's playing on BJP's terms. They have wanted to stick on economics, livelihood, Agniveer, farmers, right? Now they've entered the BJP's backyard and they're attacking they're needling the BJP on the BJP's own issues. If you were to compare the two performances with just as the analyst that you are, how do you think both leaders did? Saba, we can't hear you. Your signal has suddenly become terrible.
Sorry. Can you hear me now?
And yeah. Go ahead. Yeah, Saba.
So Rahul Gandhi took those positions, and there's been deliberation because the BJP lost it. Actually, there's some speeches made by other MPs wherever the journey of Lord Ram went. I think in the Rajya Sabha, in those sides they lost. So it is, let's say Akhilesh Yadav did it with greater finesse. He did not do it in a way that would offend, because he really had a spectacular victory of 37 seats. And the BJP is losing the Hindu card. So perhaps the Congress, I'm not a fan of bringing anything religious into conversations, but the BJP does it. We've had a parliament for a decade. Please, for all of those who have not been in parliament, Barkha, you have, I don't know if the others have, you have not had a parliament which has functioned for a decade. You have no parliamentary committee meetings, you have bills rammed through, you had the spectacle of the farm laws, you had the opposition expelled, you had a danger. The way our parliament functioned was one of the indices. Yes, the BJP bhakt might think, oh, khadakat laws are being passed. But anyone who's been familiar with that institution, who has been there, should know what was going on was not right. What you had, Barkha, is much more serious than two speeches as far as the BJP is concerned. Prime Minister.
Saba, we're having network issues with you. We're having terrible network. Yeah, but it comes and goes. And you just complete your point and then maybe reconnect. Yeah, go ahead, Saba.
He had to sit there and hear this. Not only when the speaker's election was going on, you must understand, even the NDA allies did not say, oh Lord, hail you, the great Modi ji.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've got the gist of. I'm going to request you to reconnect, Saba, because the signal is really, really weak. But I got the essence of what you're saying. And in a way, you're talking about the diminishing of Modi, the fact that the Prime Minister had to be there and not be the sort of karta dharta of everything, to not be the natural rallying point. Surabhi, what do you say to that perception? Obviously, 240 is not 303, but the Prime Minister hit back by saying 99 is not out of 100, it's out of 543. He made the case too. Both sides have to accept that it isn't business as usual. Neither side seems to be, both sides have to accept that it isn't their win, purely in pure terms. It is the BJP NDA government, but the BJP itself is below majority. The BJP seems to be in denial about that. The Congress seems to be in denial about the fact that 99 doesn't make a win. Surabhi, go ahead.
Barkha, I know you've been in politics and journalism for long enough to know that there are different...
Not in politics. I'm not in politics, but yes, journalism.
Around politics and journalism, politics and in journalism for long enough to know that there have been multiple permutations and combinations of what makes government and what makes opposition. I'm reminded of Pramod Mahajan's very viral speech where he talks about coalition politics and the pitfalls of it and the beauty of it as well. In this situation, the truth of the matter is that we are in government and there is an opposition. That cannot be taken away from us, irrespective of whether that number is 300 plus 240, however you would like to see it. That is the truth of the matter. Now, coming back to the speech and what we've seen in the last 2 days, I think somewhere for every viewer of Rahul Gandhi's speech and the speeches that followed from different opposition leaders, there was a sense of where are we headed? If you are okay with having called a large number of people in our country as violent, and look, I've been going back and forth on social media about this. Somebody asked me, do you think that he actually said Hindus are violent? I said, if he hadn't said that, then he could have said that people from the BJP and RSS are clearly, made that clear reference. But he chose to say people who call themselves Hindus. I call myself a Hindu.
In reference to the BJP and the RSS, he said that they spread nafrat. That was his phrase. He didn't actually say Hindus are violent. He said, you on the other side of parliament, on the other side of the floor, you call yourselves Hindu and you. And when Mr. Modi got up and said, you are insulting Hindus, he said, no, Modi doesn't equal Hindus. That's what I saw. What did you see?
I saw that if you wanted to say that, then you could have said people who are in a particular party. And first and foremost, isn't that a bit of a stretch in itself? Why identify, why did you bring the Hindu identity at all? What does that have to show or not show? Tehseen mentioned, that there was a going after the speaker for switching off or not switching off. Tehseen, I know that you're a fan of Rahul Gandhi, and that there has been, through this election campaign, some sort of...
Can I finish my point, Barkha? Because I'm hearing this about Hinduism. This is a parliament. None of you have been there. No, I just want to finish this. When a Muslim MP takes oath, all of the BJP, from the BJP benches, you hear Jai Shri Ram. Perhaps you've probably not entered parliament. I don't think Sugata has. And now I'm being told that this is a great institution.
Okay,
Barkha,
Saba,
I
we
mean,
keep losing.
Saba, I think
One
you're
minute.
Saba, I think you're making yourself sound like a veteran, and you think you're dismissing everybody's experience.
No,
Please
I'm
don't do
not.
that. We have entered
I'm
Parliament
not. I'm saying
several
you have
times.
not been to
Okay.
Parliament. Have you covered Parliament, Sugata?
Yeah, I have. If you don't know, I mean, you know me only from
Okay.
Outlook. You don't know me from
Let
Outlook.
me come in. Let me come in and make a point about Jai Shri Ram. And let's take this forward now. The fact is that when Avadish Prasad ji of the Samajwadi Party, who won from Ayodhya, took his oath, Jai Shri Ram slogans were raised from the floor, and they were raised by Samajwadi Party colleagues. So we are seeing something very interesting happen. If you join the dots with Rahul Gandhi's speech, we are seeing an attempt to take a portion of the Hinduism space away from the BJP into the opposition. That's what I'm seeing. If I were to look at it through a very sharp political lens, that's what I would see. Now, Surabhi, you complete your point. Saba, I want you to complete the point about very briefly. Both of you can take 30 seconds and then I'm coming to you, Tehseen. Surabhi, go ahead. Surabhi.
Tell Hindus of the country, yeah, that the Congress can also represent them is to insult them. I don't think that's the strategy here, Barkha. I'm sorry. And to the answer on what sloganeering has happened in Parliament, we've seen for the last 1.5 weeks a lot of different slogans being raised, and that Saba Naqvi might not agree, but that is the beauty of our democracy. It is not you can say only one thing; you can say multiple things. That's what it is, even when nobody likes to hear it. That is what this opposition does not have. This opposition does not have. It has cancel culture. It has the left, ultra left understanding of what conversation is, which is that either you say what I like for you to say or you don't say anything at all. That is the disruption that we are seeing in Parliament today.
Okay.
And if
Okay.
think that is the way
Sorry.
to go, one is the lies that
I
have
have
been
to-
told. May I just
I
clarify?
have to-
As party spokesperson, I mean, my communication department has got a little heat over here. I'd like to clarify again and again. Tehseen sir, there is no such thing as switching off mic. The speaker has clarified this, that many people from different parties sit behind that. So why repeat that again and again? I really hope Tehseen does not repeat that. Really do, because it's not true.
Okay.
So let's be
Let's move ahead. Let's move ahead. Saba, I want you to complete the point before we lost you on the diminishing. I think you were trying to make the point about the diminishing of the Prime Minister. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, so basically what's happened here is first during the speaker election, now if you watched it, today we got some of the images in the NDA meeting. The, sort of imperious person, Praful Patel is standing next to him. It's so funny. And then he talks about no corruption. All of this goes on in the NDA meeting. So that moment of being the monarch has been eluding the PM entirely in this session. It must be hard on him. During the speaker thing also, even his own allies, they were talking about the speaker. The other thing is, if you hear it very carefully, Barkha, what has happened is, because there are not so many parties in the NDA, there is the big BJP, there are two big allies, there are many more chances to speak. So if you're watching the speeches, which I am, and I'm a little disturbed at the way Sansad TV, after a point is when people speak in English, they mute it. So Mawa Moitra, you had to wait. They were putting a Hindi thing over it. Whereas if someone speaks in Hindi, you don't care about the South Indians there. You are not putting English voiceover. So that is, and what was amazing, Barkha, please note this. Yesterday, I watched it from home. It's not easy to get into the house anymore. In any case, they don't give you access, even though I'm an accredited journalist. What was amazing, Barkha, you may not, is that they showed the entire Rahul Gandhi speech live on every channel, including the Godi media.
Yeah. Okay, we've lost you again, but we got the operated part of your. Saba, we're losing you every 4 sentences. Okay, but hang on. I need to get Tehseen
So
in.
they showed the.
Saba, your network is terrible. I'm going to actually. Saba, we're going to just let you go. Sorry about that. If you could reconnect, that would be great. I want to bring in Tehseen, Sugata, Rajat, and then I'll come to Surabhi because the others have been waiting. Tehseen, do go ahead.
No, like I started, he's one of the more articulate spokespeople. Congratulate her for that. But the fact of the matter is that Om Birla does not have a great reputation as speaker that precedes him. 149 odd MPs that were suspended in the last when the last parliament convened was unprecedented. And it's not about suspending 149 MPs. You can argue that MLAs in Tamil Nadu were suspended. After being suspended, they passed bills that are actually draconian. They've just come into effect yesterday, and some of the bills that actually violate our fundamental rights. So there was absolute ridiculous behavior. So to that extent, people are relieved, including some BJP supporters, that this authoritarianism of the BJP, at the level of which the BJP's authoritarianism is diminished. Now, I'm not saying Prime Minister Modi's lost his credibility. There's some amount of aura that's going away, not for any other reason, because now the Prime Minister is forced to come and defend, ordinarily thinks that Amit Shah ji should have been defending or somebody else. We spoke about Manipur. I don't want to go into too much detail. It's not about Manipur. Why were the Chief Minister's tweets deleted? The Chief Minister made some bizarre tweets that PM had to step in and delete them. He caused a lot of these problems. No other Chief Minister's tweets have been deleted. This current Chief Minister made bizarre tweets. They were deleted, those tweets. So there are a lot of things that have happened subsequently. And the Prime Minister and the BJPs run away from NEET. NEET is the single largest issue of this country at this moment. 24 lakh students into 24 lakh families into 24 into 4. Their aspirations were not just destroyed. You had the NTA chairperson coming out and saying, oh, the paper leak, after denying the paper leak, was a localized event, as if the paper on Telegram is only going to be circulated in Bihar.
Yeah.
The government is clueless to answer about it. That is where the opposition is.
Can I ask you very briefly whether you agree with Rahul Gandhi wading into religion? You made all the points about what the government is doing wrong. Do you think that Rahul did smart by wading into religion? Say yes or no, because I want to play out the next clip of the Prime Minister. Yeah.
I think if you fight the BJP on religion, BJP wins. But I think they're taking a calculated risk because they want to make the point that they fundamentally believe in, that the BJP does not represent Hindus. And while I really respect you, Barkha's right. Rahul Gandhi's point was BJP is not the representative of Hindus, and the BJP conduct violence. That was the context. He wasn't calling Hindus. Okay. Let's be honest about that. Once we're honest, we can have this debate further. Okay. So we can change it politically, but that's his point.
Okay, Tehseen got that again. Slight audio issues with you, so I'm just going to recap what you said. You said that BJP, when you contest the BJP on religion, you are taking a risk, but the opposition has decided to take a calculated risk to not hand over the entire sort of space of Hinduism to the BJP as the representatives of the Hindu community. I want to play out for you one of the funnier moments from the Prime Minister's speech today. I know we're running tight on time. We'll come back for comments from Sugata, Surabhi, and Rajat, and of course Tehseen right after that. Sholi's Mosi makes an appearance. Here's why.
आदरणीय सभापति जी, कांग्रेस के नेताओं के बयानों में ये बयानबाजी ने शोले फिल्म को भी पीछे छोड़ दिया है। आप सबको शोले फिल्म की वो मौसी जी याद होगी। तीसरी बार तो हारे हैं, पर मौसी, ये बात तो सही है, तीसरी बारी तो हारे हैं, पर मौसी मोरल विक्ट्री तो है ना। आदरणीय सभापति जी, 13 राज्यों में 0 सीटें आई हैं। अरे मौसी, 13 राज्यों में 0 सीटें आई हैं, पर हीरो तो है ना। आदरणीय सभापति जी, अरे पार्टी की लुटिया तो दुबई है। अरे मौसी, पार्टी अभी भी सांसें तो ले रही है। मैं कांग्रेस के लोगों को कहूंगा, जनादेश को फर्जी जीत के जश्न में मत दबाओ।
फर्जी जीत के जश्न में मत दबाओ. Now, I want to bring in Rajat. Rajat, you spoke about the ostrich effect, the absence of poor communication, as it were, from the from those who should be communicating instead of leaving the prime minister to do it in parliament. Do you not think that both sides are in a way not acting in proportion to what the result is? Neither side is. The BJP is acting like it is the same dynamics. It clearly isn't. The fact that the opposition, and there's so many of them now, was able to almost shout down the prime minister points to those shifting power dynamics. The Congress is acting as if Rahul Gandhi is just on the verge of becoming prime minister. Neither is actually either privately they read the verdict absolutely accurately, and as you said, this is performative, or actually both sides are suffering from overconfidence and hubris. Which one is it?
See, if you were to speak to Congress folks, you will be surprised, and to your viewers I can share anecdotes. They are internally convinced that this mandate is theirs and they have won it. They're living in a parallel reality, in a bubble wherein Rahul Gandhi is already prime minister in waiting, is just the swearing in his left. Now that's an alternative reality that they have constructed for themselves, and they're living in it, and they're happy, and they're congratulating each other. By the way, I'm telling you this, several Congress leaders are congratulating on the outcome of the results to each other, which clearly means internally their framing and their anchors are around the fact that they have somehow won this election. And this is where their over excitement on projecting their power beyond what the numbers show is coming from. And I'm telling you, they have been able to peddle this agenda successfully, even globally. A lot of commentators around the world are saying that this is a minority government of Modi. And I have told this on your show as well. This frame has settled in. And I think it's only the prime minister who can come in and constantly come up with a language with which he can communicate to an average Indian that this is not their victory, and this is why he picked up.
But does he not also need a new story? Does he not need a new story, a new narrative, a fresh narrative? I know it's easier said than done when you're a prime minister for the third time. But all the things Mr. Modi said today have been heard before. Rahul has the advantage of being the antagonist. Being the antagonist is easier than being the protagonist.
No, you are right. I think so. The biggest instrument of Prime Minister Modi's signal to the way forward is going to be the budget, and I think the budget is going to be do the talking. That would be the policy, set the policy imperative for the next government. And I believe that thereafter, BJP would want to really cling on to the narrative battle and ensure that they have progressive politics for the nation, for progressive policy making for the nation. And a lot of new things, new discussion points will come in. Right now, it's rhetoric on their side and rhetoric on the BJP's side. And I believe that this confrontation path till the motion of thanks is going to carry on. It will be once the budget speeches start and there are deliberations on that, we will see more productive discourse in Parliament.
Okay, we have just 5 minutes left. Sugata, please go ahead. Can we unmute Sugata? Sugata, are you muted at your end? If you are, please unmute yourself.
Yeah, hi. Yeah, I agree with what Rajat largely said. I mean, I think both sides are recalibrating after the numbers, and the Congress has sort of gone ahead and tried to create this narrative about its victory, because there was a kind of 10 years of being out of power, and they just wanted to show that there was some kind of victory. So I mean, that is the kind of a delusional bubble that Rajat has been speaking about. I agree with it partially. See, but there is also another thing. If Rahul Gandhi, you were speaking about Rahul Gandhi and his Hindu kind of attack and all that. See, there was one very big contradiction in Rahul Gandhi. On day one, when he came into parliament, he sort of was waving the constitution. And yesterday, in his maiden speech as LOP, he was flashing religious symbols and religious leaders.
I mean, also the constitution. Also the constitution.
Correct. But then, the more dominant thing was, showing the symbol of, showing Shiva, showing Guru Nanak, showing, all of that. So I think, it would have been good for him to sort of remain in that frame that he had created for himself of, protecting the constitution, or, ensuring that the constitution is
That's interesting.
not violated. So he has sort of, already drifted is my thing. So if you allow Rahul Gandhi to speak more, he's more likely to sort of tie himself up in knots, because the problem is his language. I think Saba made a very good point although she was very patronizing on a lot of things, that Akhilesh put it across with greater finesse, all that he had to say. Rahul Gandhi's problem is his language. He does not know that figures of speech exist. He sort of, does not use irony or humor or sarcasm or anything like that. So he just sort of shoots straight. That shooting straight does not work as a technique inside parliament, because he knew very well that the BJP will take this statement on the Hindu thing out of context, and it did happen. So the 30 seconds video is bound to run in a loop.
But do you believe people care? Here's my provocative question to all of you. Does what's happening right now matter to people out there on the street, or are they concerned with where's my job from, where are my children going to study, what's going to happen to NEET, what's going to happen to Agniveer? Sugata, I'll start with you, then Tehseen, and then everyone has their hands up. So just let's do this quickly. Sugata, does this matter, or this is just entertainment, analysis, material for all of us, good copy, great copy?
There is great copy and entertainment. So therefore, if you look at the Prime Minister's speech, I think 60% of his speech was devoted to the Viksit Bharat thing, Sabka, all these slogans of the BJP. And 40% was, I think, devoted to election analysis and targeting Rahul Gandhi. So I think he's trying to handle both. But on the side of the BJP, on the side of the Congress, on the side of the opposition, I think it was just trying to push the BJP on the back foot. So they were just trying to disrupt. I think that disruption is not going to go down well, according to me, Barkha. Yeah.
Okay, Surabhi?
I'm going to take a few minutes, Barkha, because I feel I haven't gotten my say today. If K.C. Venugopal today had not followed up Rahul Gandhi's comment by talking about the fact that the Bhagavad Gita taught God say violence, I mean, there is an absolute lack of clarity, and it's such a pitiable state that I have to use a quote from the US President, Donald Trump, in saying that I don't know what he said and I don't think he knows what he said. I think that sums up Rahul Gandhi's communication.
Yeah, I'm also looking quizzical because I don't know what this is. I missed this. What do you mean the Bhagavad Gita? Like, does anybody here know what this is about?
K.C. Venugopal today, Parliament has said that Godse learned violence, that both Mahatma Gandhi and Godse read the Bhagavad Gita, and Mahatma Gandhi learned non-violence and Godse learned violence from the Bhagavad Gita. So this is just about a few. So if you're going
that up,
if Rahul Gandhi was trying to position himself as more Hindu than everybody else in the BJP, which in itself is a positioning that I don't understand, the fact that K.C. Venugopal followed that up with today's remark clearly shows where they're coming from. What is Rahul Gandhi trying to say? I would like to go one step further from Sugata sir. I don't think it's a lack of clarity or inability to communicate. I think the message and the messaging itself, there is a problem. We've talked about this multiple times. What is Rahul Gandhi standing for? Samvidhan, Samvidhan, Samvidhan. The entire campaign that they did throughout the election was based on a lie. Who have brought in the emergency? We've been trying to say this point multiple times. What right do you have to talk about, point fingers and say reservation is going to be taken away and spread this misinformation, and then talk about, a moral high ground? Come out in parliament and say, we're going to work. The last thing that Rahul Gandhi said in his speech yesterday was that we're going to work with you. Is this what we're saying, work with you? Hypocrisy, absolute hypocrisy. Going after the speaker, going after institutional bodies and saying that you are not democratic. This is the hypocrisy we are seeing in in the Congress of today. That is to me, that is the takeaway. And it's a scary
I've got the comment. Yeah, I've got the comment you referred to. As reported in the media, K.C. Venugopal said that Gandhi and Godse both believed in the Gita, whereas Gandhi learned non-violence and tolerance from the Gita and a message of Lord Krishna. Godse learned violence and murder from the same text. Now this sounds like Tehseen, we're back to Congress motor mouths, I guess. Every party has a.
I'm not going to.
I'm sorry.
Okay, Surabhi, wrap up. Surabhi,
just one quick comment. right? I will not let this go as a motor mouth, because KC Venugopal is a very high figure within the Congress, known to be close to Rahul Gandhi. You have a Rahul Gandhi who has clearly prepped for 5 days and then ended up making this speech where he has signaled out a community and said that who is he to give a certificate? Even if you're not to say that, he didn't mean all Hindus. Who is he to give a certificate to people in the BJP who claim themselves
Can
to
I
be Hindus?
now come in, because everybody really has to go for, I think, other programs. So Tehseen, the point is, I'm just reading off what has been reported, and we'll have to look up the context and so on. I think it's quite clear that yesterday, I don't agree that Rahul Gandhi was targeting the Hindu community. He was challenging the BJP as not being the sole representative of Hindus or not being authentic Hindus. KC Venugopal's bite just seems like adding just unnecessary chaos, right, to a already high risk move that Rahul Gandhi may have pulled it off for now, but these kind of comments will sully the waters. Last thoughts, Tehseen, and then Rajat can have the closing word. Yeah.
I only speak and support the Gandhis, or people who have a certain. I don't defend other comments. So let me come to the comments that I want to speak about. Look, I do think, I don't defend Mani Shankar here. I'm not going to say anything more than that. Hang
on. I'm not going to let that one go.
I'm not putting no thing.
In the same category.
He's a very No. I think he's a very good organizational general secretary. I have a lot of praise for him and for his political acumen. I think he's extremely politically suave, and he has a lot of acumen, and I think he's a mass leader. But let me come to the point that I'm trying to make. The point that I'm making is, look, there is the point, the question that you asked, how important are the parliamentary debates? Yes. My network's fine. Yeah. How important are the parliamentary debates? I think in the sphere that all of us are in, it is important. It's great talking points. We follow politics. We live politics 24/7. So yes, in that context, it's important. But there's a world outside a little bubble that we live in. Let's accept it. We are political elites of this country, the 1%, even though we are not in politics. We are. The larger audience, what is the perception? The BJP supporters are livid with Rahul Gandhi. That's true. The Congress supporters are praising Rahul Gandhi and thinking that the BJP or the speaker is biased. That's the two camps. But the common man is thinking this, and this is where I feel that the BJP has not been able to set the narrative on issues that matter, NEET and Manipur. So the common man is thinking, ab vipaksh baat kar raha hai, unko karne kyun nahi de rahe? So they are seeing that. Now, Rajat is right. The BJP is not able to bridge that. The Prime Minister does enjoy a lot of credibility even now. He is the most credible leader in the country even now. But if the Prime Minister should defend everything, the BJP has lost credibility. Let's as clear as this. And the common man, just 5 seconds more. Just 5 seconds more. So the common man is thinking that Rahul Gandhi is fighting for him and the BJP is not allowing him to speak. I think that perception has set in. That has set in for now. This round goes to the opposition.
This round goes to the opposition. Rajat and Sugata, do you agree? Please take 30 seconds each so we can close at 8 o'clock sharp. Right. Sugata?
Yeah, Barkha, I mean, the one other statement that the Prime Minister made, I think you should have it for another show, where he called the Congress a parasite Congress, Parajivi Congress. This is something that we have discussed in the past, that the Congress can grow only at the expense of its allies. So the Prime Minister was warning the allies also, and said that's something very, very interesting and important, I thought. And also the other point is that the Prime Minister has always been the big communicator in the BJP. Everybody else have been trolls.
Okay, Rajat, closing word on that comment, since you've been asking for a better communication strategy. Yeah.
We are close to the motion of thanks. Now this is going to be over. Opposition, through its mandate, has some political capital. How judiciously do they use this political capital is up to their understanding of India's politics, etc. But it is not infinite. People will not tolerate this, constant haggling, constant, theaterization of the parliament, till eternity. This is where I think Rahul Gandhi will have to wear his thinking hats, pick issues which matter, and keep the government on account on those issues. But do not try and make a mockery of the entire process of parliament. We are way beyond those days. 2009 is not coming back. This should be clear to him.
Okay, we leave it there to Rajat, Surabhi, Sugata, earlier to Tehseen and Saba. Thank you, and to our audience, thank you for watching. See you tomorrow.
Namaskar and hello. Mojo Story has always made a commitment to its viewers to go to. It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.